Very good morning to all my viewers. I welcome you all for the morning lecture. Children, today I'm with a new topic, that is Evans Tries an O Level, written by Colin Dexter. This is the seventh chapter of your textbook Visitors. Before I proceed ahead, I would like to tell you it is a very long chapter, children, but very interesting, full of suspense. You know, there's humor in between. You would definitely be enjoying, but I would not be able to cover it in one stretch. Rather, I would have to break the chapter in 2 or 3 parts to explain it in detail to you so that you may not have any problem in answering the questions. Okay, so today in this lecture I would be covering about the author, then introduction, the detailed explanation. I would be talking about the different characters, then few important questions. Okay, so let's begin with the chapter about the author first. Colin Dexter, he was born on September 29th, 1930 in Stamford, Lincolnshire, England. He is a British crime writer known for Inspector Endeavour Morse, who appears in detective novels. These novels were written between 1975 and 1999. They were adopted as television series from 1987 to 2000. He received many awards, including 2 silver and 2 gold Draggers and a Cartier Diamond Dragger for lifetime achievement in the year 1997. He had commendable knowledge of medical terminology and makes use of it for dramatic effects. The use of the small rubber tube in the story Evans Tries an O Level is really interesting. He is himself diabetic, and so is his character Inspector Morse. His own experiences of deafness were a great help for him in writing his novel The Silent World of Nicholas Quinn. With this, I would love to move ahead towards the introduction. Evans Tries an O Level is an engrossing story, children, where the writer Colin Dexter arouses the reader's curiosity and sustains it throughout the narration. The entire story is a battle of wits between the criminal and the jail authorities. Despite the best efforts of the prison officials, the criminal outwits them and has the last laugh. Being good at predicting the moves of his rivals and being well connected with intelligent, clever, and manipulative friends, Evans is able to escape from right under the nose of the prison authorities without having to break a single lock. In fact, he is officially escorted out of the prison by the officials themselves. The course of action for jailbreak followed by him is diametrically opposite to the one visualized by the prison authorities, and they realize that Evans has befooled them much after the tables are turned on them. What makes the story engrossing is that it is primarily an individual who keeps the entire system on the run for a good while and eventually slips out of their hands, making them admit sheepishly that they were good for a gullible officers. So, this is the introduction to this story that we are going to learn in detail and know more about Evans, the main protagonist of this story. He is, he is a character, I would love to say. He's a person known as Evans the Brave. He is non-violent, has no records of violence, a very lively and a pleasant person is, but he is suffering from congenital kleptomania. Now, what do you mean by congenital kleptomania? Is congenital means by birth, okay, and kleptomania means he has an urge to steal. That means by birth, he's born with an urge to steal. Children, this story, it deals with a prisoner who escapes from the prison, and the story deals that how a prisoner named Evans has escaped from the prison. It is a very interesting story, though long but full of surprises, suspense, and humor. Now, let me talk about the characters of the story, children. See on the first page of your textbook, it's written as, should criminals in prison be given the opportunity of learning? Because this prisoner in this story, he had the desire, he developed a desire to pass an O-level examination in German. So thus the story proceeds ahead that how the prison officer, the governor, has helped this prisoner in appearing in the O-level examination. So before I proceed ahead, I would love to speak about the characters of this particular story. It's written as dramatis personae. What do you mean by dramatis personae, children? It is personae, it is a Latin word, means drama. And because of number of characters, there are number of characters in the story. The secretary of the examination board. The next one is, the governor of HM Prison, Oxford. Now, children, before I proceed ahead, I would love to tell you this prison, it is Oxford Castle, Okay, it's in England. It was a huge castle in Oxford, but in the year 1888 to 1996, this castle was used as a prison, and thus it was named as HM Prison. I hope if any such question arises, you would be able to answer. Okay, so it's in Oxford, and James Roderick Evans, he is the prisoner in HM Prison, Oxford. He is the main protagonist of this particular story. Next is, there are two officers. The first one is Mr. Jackson, a prison officer, and there's another junior officer named as Mr. Stephens. What is his name? Mr. Stephens. They are two prison officers. The next character is S. McClary, Reverend S. McClary. Now, children, you would love to know why is this word Reverend added before the name of S. McClary. Reverend, it's a name. It's a it's a religious term given to religious leaders. The priests especially. So he acts as an invigilator when this examining Evans appears for O-level examination. There's another character, Mr. Carter. He's a detective superintendent. Then Mr. Bell, detective chief inspector. Okay, so as the prisoner is now desirous of appearing in the O-level German examination, so all precautions are being made to conduct the examination, as James had already broken the prison thrice and escaped from the prison. So this time when he's again imprisoned and he puts up his desire of upgrading his qualification by appearing in O-level German examination. So the chapter begins with, all precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination is arranged in the prison for Evans, and thus the precautions that are being taken do not give him any single chance or opportunity for him to escape from the prison. Okay, so the rest part of the chapter I would be explaining you in detail, children, and I hope you all understand the chapter with full interest and take keen interest in it and try to understand. Though it is lengthy, but it is an interesting chapter if you take keen interest in comprehending and learning what is being explained to you. So let's begin the explanation. So as I told you earlier, there were precautions being made as the governor of the HM prison, is planning to conduct an examination for a prisoner who is willing to, upgrade his qualification. Okay? So it was in the month of early March when the secretary of the examination, see now, what do you mean by secretary of the, examination, like the examination board, like it's the ICSE or you can call it as the CBSE board. So in the same way, the secretary of the examination board received a call from the governor of Oxford prison that one of his prisoners, he is desirous of appearing for the O-level German examination. Now again, the governor felt that though this request of the prisoner was quite unusual, but again he thought that why should not he help out the candidate who is willing to upgrade or improve his qualification. Then he said, you say that's it, chap called Evans. Then he said, okay, what is the name of the candidate? His name is Evans. He said yes, started night classes in O-level last German September. Okay, then he said that since last September he's already taking coachings for the O-level German examination. Says he's dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. Then the governor said, he's keenly interested to upgrade his qualification, academic qualification. Dead keen means बहुत गहरी इच्छा रखना, किसी भी काम के लिए. तो same way he said that he is very desirous of appearing in the examination. Then he said, is he good in anything? Then the secretary of examination asked he wanted to know more about this particular chap. Now, who is known as a chap? Like India, we call them as boy. Boy, the same way. In England, they used to use the term like a chap. Is he any good? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he's had individual tuitions all the time. Then the governor said, you won't believe he's the only candidate in the prison who is willing to appear for the O level examination. And this prisoner, he had always been taking individual tuitions. Why do people take individual tuitions, children? Because the teacher can lay much emphasis, the teacher can keep a check on the improvement of the student. So really would have cost him a packet if it had been outside. And the governor said to the secretary of examination that if this candidate would have been taking tuitions out with a group of candidates or at a coaching center, definitely he would have to pay a large packet of amount as fee. As now is an individual candidate, so much attention is being paid because a teacher has been appointed and the teacher is coming to the prison to teach him, since the month of September. Then he said, well, let's give him a chance. Shall we? Now children, here it's written as shall we. क्यों ना हम उसे मौका दें? तो फिर कहते हैं shall we? दे दें. What is this दे दें? दे दें is a question tag. Shall we is a question tag. Okay, that's jolly kind of you. Then he said, what exactly is the procedure now? The governor replied to the secretary of examination, so kind of you. And he wanted to know the procedure, how the examination should be conducted for the prisoner who is desirous or willing to appear for the O-level examination. Okay. Then the examination secretary said, don't worry, I'll be sending you all the forms and stuff. What's his name? You say Evans. He said, okay, I would love to know his name. What is the candidate's name who is willing to appear for the examination? The governor said, Evans. His name is James Roderick Evans. So what is the name? What is his full name, children? James Roderick Evans. Then listening to the name, the secretary said, his name sounds rather grand. बहुत ही नाम तो उसका बहुत शाही नाम है. Okay? Grand name, is got. Yes, one thing, governor. Then the secretary, warned and stressed on a certain point. He said, I want to know, he's not a violent sort of fellow, is he? He said, I wish to know that. I hope he's not a criminal. He's not aggressive in nature, or he's not a violent person. Then I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. Now the secretary said, I do not want to know anything about the candidate, whether he's having any criminal record or anything like that. Then he said, no. He has no record of violence. Rather, whose response is it? This is the response given by the governor of HM prison, where the prisoner is imprisoned. He said he's a very lively, he's a very jolly kind of person. Bit of a card. Bit of a card means rather the officers in the prison keep telling me that he's bit of a card. Bit of a card means he's entirely different from the other prisoners. One of the stars in the Christmas concert, they're saying generally, he gives performances in the Christmas concerts, and he's a good organizer. Limitations, the sort of thing. Then the secretary of examination said, see, we have limitations for everything. Mike Yarwood stuff. Then he said that the governor said he's somewhat like a Mike Yarwood stuff. Now, this candidate's nature and his habits are like Yarwood stuff, a singer there. No, He's just a congenital kleptomania. So the governor said, no, no, no. He's having a problem, and he is suffering from congenital kleptomania. Congenital kleptomania means what? Congenital means it is by birth. You know, he has the urge of stealing. What do you mean by kleptomania? Kleptomania is, since birth he has the habit of stealing, he said. That's all. This is the only problem with the examinee who is willing to appear for the O level examination, and said that's all. The governor was tempted to add something else. Now, the governor he was just thinking, why don't I tell the secretary of examination little more about the candidate to him? But he thought better of it. Then he thought, no, let me not continue with his weakness or his strengths. Rather, as the secretary of examination is already, in a mood to, permit him to appear for the examination, he would look after that particular side of things himself. Then the governor said, don't worry, sir. The rest things I would be looking after him myself. Okay, who said this? The governor said to the secretary of examination. Presumably, said the secretary. Ab now secretary ने अनुमान लगाते हुए कहा, definitely, okay, you can arrange a room where? Then he said, would you be able to arrange a separate room for him? Then the governor said, there's no problem in it, because he's already imprisoned in one separate cell. He's in a cell on his own. If you have no objections, he can sit in the same in there. Then the governor said, sir, if you do not have any problem, if he sits in that same cell and appears for the examination, I think we can proceed with the procedure. That's fine, the secretary said, and we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary's Mags to invigilate. And the secretary said that, we would be, the governor said that they would be easily able to arrange a priest. Parson कौन होता है बेटा? Parson is a priest. Okay? जैसे हमारे पंडित जी in the mandir, in the same way in the churches, they are priests, who worship there and bless the, all the people who go to worship in the church. So he said we would definitely be arranging an invigilator. Invigilators who, when you are appearing for examination, your teachers are, concerned regarding the exam, and so that they should know unfair means be, taken up by the students, and so that they can put a complete check on them. So what did the governor say? He said we would be able to arrange one of the priests as an invigilator for the candidate from the nearby church, that is St. Mary's Mags. What is the St. Mary's Mag? St. Mary Mag is a church, okay, because there are a number of priests in that church, so they thought of it, they planned up, they would be arranging one of the priests to invigilate this examinee who is a prisoner. Fine. Immediately the secretary said, fine. They seem to have a lot of parsons. Then the secretary said, yes, there are a number of priests there, don't they? The two men chuckled, and these two persons, the secretary as the governor, they had a casual laugh, and good naturedly. The secretary's nature was very jovial, and the secretary had a final thought. Then at the end, the secretary had a final thought about it. Then he said, at least there's one thing, you should not have much trouble keeping him incommunicado, should you? Then he said, I have another doubt, that is, as the prison is large enough, it's like the Oxford Castle it is, which has been changed into a prison in the years 1888 to 1996. So I think you should not have any problem of keeping him separately, and communicado means so that where one cannot talk or see anyone. So he said, I hope that you would be able to keep this candidate, you know, in a very solitude place, so that he may not have any communication or any contact with anyone. So this was the doubt that the secretary of the examination had. So the last thought was his that he wanted to inquire from the governor, that hope that the governor would be able to arrange him in a separate room, so that he should not be able to have any contact with anyone, or he should not be able to see anyone there. So the governor chuckled politely once more, reiterated his thanks, and slowly cradled the phone. The governor, once again he laughed. Chuckled is nothing but to laugh or to smile politely, and reiterated his thanks, and once again he thanked him and slowly cradled the phone. What do you mean by cradle the phone? Cradle the phone means place the phone down. See, when we are talking, so he has put the phone back. Then said Evans. Evans the brake. How is Evans known as? He is known as Evans the brake. Now children, why is he known as Evans the brake? Because he is master in breaking the prison and escaping from the prison. This is the title which has been given by the prison officers to him, because earlier thrice he had been imprisoned, and all the 3 times he made an escape from the prison. So thus they call him as Evans the brake. And now, but for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishments up north. So now he is in a jail, which is an Oxford jail, HM Oxford jail, where he has been imprisoned. It is in the northern direction, and they say that there is a lot of unrest now, because they are taking up complete security. Maximum security has been appointed there, so that he would not take up any chance of escaping from the prison. Okay, so then he says, and then why they have a strict security there? Because they have a fear that he should not once again grace the governor's premises in Oxford. So he is under strict vigilance, because they have a fear, the police department has a fear, or the prison department, the officers of the prison have a fear that he once again should not be able to cheat again. Okay, grace means so that by escaping from that prison he should not be able to grace the governor's premises. Okay, under the governor's vigilance, this prisoner should not be able to escape from the prison, and the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he would not be disgracing them. And the governor is also very much concerned about that this prisoner who had already broken the prison's thrice, he should not disgrace Oxford prison by escaping from here. So he is taking disgrace is he is also taking sincere steps that he should not insult them by escaping from close vigilance and the maximum security that they have established here. Okay, not that Evans was a real burden. Now the governor says that I don't think so that Evans is a burden. He is like an ordinary human being, but just a persistent means continuous nagging presence. But whenever he is there, we have to put up a continuous eye on him, because now his behavior कैसा हो गया, उसका बिहेवियर थोड़ा सा चिड़चिड़ापन आ गया है उसमें. ओके, nagging presence है, उसको देखते ही even we people get irritated looking at this gentleman, because he had already made an escape thrice, and so we don't want that he should insult us, because we have already, he had been put under maximum security establishments. Okay, so that's the reason they have vigilance, strict vigilance to look after him. He would be all right in Oxford, though the governor would see to that. Then they say, because he's under the vigilance of the governor of Oxford prison, I think this gentleman would not be able to make any attempt of escaping from here. And besides, there was just a possibility that Evans was generally interested in O-level German examination. And then they thought, another thought that occurred in his mind was that, I do not know, there was just a possibility, and in a very unusual way, and any unusual request this is, that Evans, generally is interested in O-level German examination, and this prisoner had put up his desire of appearing in the O-level examination, and they have a fear that this examination should not be an attempt, it should not be an attempt of his or his planning to escape from the prison. Just a slight possibility is there. They were doubtful a little bit that why this prisoner is, desirous of appearing for the examination. Okay, children, just a very slight possibility was there. So exactly at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 7th June, what has happened, children? Evans' German teacher shook him by the hand in the heavily guarded recreational block. Now, he was being tutored by a teacher, okay? And suddenly at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, the day was Monday, you have to remember the timing as well as the day. His German teacher came and shook him when he was in the recreational block, just across from D wing. See, as the Oxford prison was, laid in the huge premises, so in the D wing, the shape of that block was in the D shape. So he says that his teacher came, German teacher came and shook him. And as he met him, he said, "Good luck," that is Guten Glück. This is a German language. So he wished him good luck. The German teacher wished Evans good luck. He said, "Pardon." Then he said, "I said good luck for tomorrow," because Evans was, about to appear for the O-level German examination. So his teacher was wishing him in prior. Okay. Then he said, "Oh, thank you. I mean, Danke Skon." So he too used his expression in German language. He said, "Danke Skon." Now, children, these expressions here used as Danke Skon, or these greetings, they can be given as MCQ in the examination. So please be careful. What do you mean by Danke Skon? Danke Skon means thank you. And who has given this response? Evans has given this response. To whom? It has been given to the German teacher. Whose teacher? His own teacher, who had been teaching him for the last, 6 to 8 months. Then what do you mean by Guten Glück? Guten Glück means good morning. Means good luck. Okay? Then he said, "You haven't a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course." Then, the officer said, so what did he say? He said, "Yes, keep it in mind, you do not have even a minor chance of escaping from here." But Evans said, "I may surprise everybody," said Evans. What was Evans' response? His response was that he would be surprising everyone the next day, though you people have, a close vigilance, but still he would be making an attempt to escape. So exactly at 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor. Early morning, next morning, there was a visitor. Evans had a visitor. Two visitors, in fact, approached. You know, they have come to meet. You know, the prisoner Evans. And who were the two officers? Who the two men, the two visitors, they were the two officers. So he tucked his grubby string vest. So as those two officers approached Evans, so immediately he had that dirty, his banian he was wearing, that string vest he was wearing that we put on, the male candidates wear under their shirts. So he was wearing that vest, okay, into his equally grubby trousers. So he was trying to stuff that. He was just trying to tuck that dirty vest into his, dirty trousers that he was wearing. Trousers means the pants that he was putting on. And he stood up seeing the two officers from his bunk. What is bunk? Bunk is a narrow fixed bed. Okay, what is bunk? Bunk is a narrow fixed bed, children. Okay, and he was smiling cheerfully and he greeted the officer as morning. And what was his name? He was Mr. Jackson, the senior officer. Okay, and said, "This is indeed an honor." Jackson was the senior prison officer. I told you, children, there are two officers who have been appointed specially to look after the examinee who is about to appear for the examination, the prisoner. So Jackson was the senior prison officer in the D wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. And Mr. Jackson, as well as Evans, the prisoner, they have already developed a hatred, or you can say an enmity for each other. The reason behind this is that Evans had already broken the jail thrice and escaped from the prison. Thus, Jackson had, developed an hatred for this gentleman. At Jackson's side and just beside the senior officer Jackson, there was another officer standing beside him whose name was Stephens. What was his name? Stephens. Stephens is a newly recruited officer. Recruited means appointed officer. Okay, he was a fat, surly looking man. How was he? What was his physique? His physique was that he was fat and surly looking, a very bad tempered. His expressions revealed that he appeared to be a very short tempered or a bad tempered man, but he has recently been appointed to this profession. Okay, now Jax nodded curtly, and Jackson, the senior officer, while he was speaking to Evans, he was speaking in a very curtly manner. That means curtly means hardly speaking anything. And as Jackson came forward and spoke to Evans, he said, "And how is our little Einstein this morning?" So what did he say? He said that he addressed Evans as, "How is our little Einstein?" Okay, and wasn't a mathematician? Mr. Jackson said, "Is he not a mathematician? Why only Einstein?" "I think he was a Jew," Mr. Jackson said. Mr. Jackson said, "Maybe he was a Jew." Jew means little bit cleverly he used this expression. Mr. Jackson used this expression to him. I think he was a Jew. That means clever person he was. Evans' face was unshaven and he wore a filthy looking red and white bobble hat. As they were having a casual discussion, Evans and the two officers, and thus they have had a glance at his appearance, at Evans' appearance, and they were able to see that Evans, his beard was unshaven and he wore a very filthy looking bobbly hat, a round hat like the cowboys, upon his head. Then he said, "Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you burst in. Then he said, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, who said these words?" Evans. He told to Mr. Jackson, "See, when you have arrived or when you have entered my cell, I was, I was just planning to clean my beard. I just wanted to shave my beard as you have burst in. Burst in means as you have entered." Then he said, "Which reminds me," Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens, "make sure you take his razor out of the cell." So as Evans, said that I was just about to clean my or make my shave or clean my beard as you have entered, and the senior officer, Mr. Jackson, he became alert, and he looked at the junior officer Stephens, and he reminded him that make sure after he shaves his beard, make sure that you take up all these sharp articles from him, maybe the razor, maybe the nail cutter, maybe the nail filer. I want that all these sharp equipments, they should be taken away from him when he has finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Then he said, "See, he was using one plastic mug to clean his beard because and then he said that, see that after he clears his beard, see that that ugly mug is taken away from him, as well as that sharp razor you take under your control rather than leaving it near this prisoner." Why did the senior officer Jackson remind the junior officer Stephens regarding this? Because he knew that he could make an attempt of hurting or harming anyone with a minor sharp equipment which if he would possess with him. Thus he reminded him to collect everything from him. One of these days he will do us all a favor. See, what did Jackson say? He said, "It is possible that this gentleman, if we leave any sharp equipments near him or under his control, at any time he can, grace us all." ये हमें किसी तरह से भी हमें क्या कर सकते हैं, ये हमें इज्जत प्रदान कर सकते हैं. किस तरह से? By escaping from the prison. So either he can cut his bloody throat. He's such a man that he can even, with a sharp razor or with a sharp filer or with a nail cutter, he can even cut his throat. So as far as he is under our vigilance, see that no such act is performed by him. So we need to be very careful and we need to collect everything that he possesses. Okay. Okay, for a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod. See, for a few seconds, Evans was looking very, seriously at the officer who was. Ramrod means a strict disciplinarian. Okay, a man who is strict discipline. He was a very strict officer. So he was looking at him who was standing straight like a ramrod, like a strict disciplinarian. Okay, disciplinarian. Okay, straight in front of him. He had a string of Second World War. Looks like, the badges he had here on his shirt collars, So he was able to see that he might have bravely taken part in many of the battles during the Second World War, and thus he is very proud of himself, and is proudly paraded over his left breast pocket, and all those medals were here, all his medals that he had, he was having on his left breast pocket he was having. "Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away?" And immediately Evans spoke to the strict disciplinarian whose name was Mr. Jackson, the senior officer whom the governor of HM prison has appointed him to take care of this prisoner. So Evans immediately spoke to him and he questioned him, "Mr. Jackson, have you taken my nail scissors? Have you taken my cutter?" he asked. Evans had always worried about his hands. Evans, he was very concerned about the hygiene of his hands. He never wanted, any of his nails to be grown, and immediately used to chop them off. So he was very much clean. He loved to keep his hands clean. So he said, not only the nail scissor, not only the nail cutter, but I have also taken your nail filer. So what did the officer reply? Senior officer, he said, I have not only collected your nail cutter, but along with the nail cutter, I'm having with me even the nail filer too. Look, for a moment, Evans' eyes smoldered. He was Evans was not at all happy with his response. So he gave an aggressive look, a very tough look towards the officer, a very dangerous look. But Jackson was ready for him. But Jackson knew that he is, he would definitely be wild, and he would definitely be aggressive in his looks. When I say I have collected all his articles, the sharp articles, then immediately Jackson added, see, Evans, I have to follow the orders of the governor. So what did he say? That this is an order passed by the governor, that we, the officers, we have to collect all the sharp articles that you possess, and they should be undertaken by us. All these articles should be under our control, he said, under our charge, under our custody. He leaned forward and leered, he immediately, he was, he leaned forward and he spoke to him, his voice dropping to a harsh, contemptuous means embarrassing voice, whispered. He said, you want to complain anything? He asked Evans. You wish to complain? Evans just shrugged his shoulders, इस तरह से उसने अपने कंधे हिलाए. He just shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over and the discussion ended. Children, you have to remember every incident of this chapter, because though this chapter contains 35 to 36 pages, but it is very interesting. You have to keep it in mind, every incident or every context of this chapter, and you should remember where and when, who has spoken to whom. And he immediately warned Evans. He said, you have got half an hour to smarten yourself up. Then he said, see, you're having only half an hour so that you can complete your shave and get ready for the examination, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. And he, gave him a warning. See, I don't want that bobbly hat to be on your head. I want that to be taken off. Isko hata dijiye. Taken off is a prepositional phrase. Just take it off, he said. Me and Evans put his right hand lovingly on top of the filthy woolen and smiled sadly. Filthy means that dirty. So as the officer warned him to remove that wobbly hat, so what did Evans do? Evans immediately put his hand over his hat, over that dirty, filthy hat he put on his hand. But he was very sad and he smiled and said, do you know, Mr. Jackson, it's the only thing that's ever brought me any sort of luck in my life. So what did he say? Mr. Jackson, I think you don't know. This hat is very lucky for me. I think this hat has always brought me luck in my life. I call it as my lucky charm. If you know what I mean, he's saying, I hope you understand what I mean to say. That means I do not want to take off this hat because I am going to appear for my examination, and I think this has always proved very lucky to me. Okay, so and today I thought, well, with me, exam and all that. So he's saying, and because I'm having my exam, and that's the reason I have put on my hat, and as it is very lucky, as I believe it is lucky for me, it's my lucky charm. So I think if you allow me to put on this hat, I would be thankful to you. That's what he wished. Buried somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, and now Evans was very familiar with Jackson's attitude and his nature. He knew that somewhere in the core of Jackson's heart, there lies core means दिल के किसी न किसी कोने में एक सभ्य आदमी है ये, और इनके दिल में कहीं ना कहीं दया भावना है. And that's what he knew, that he would definitely agree and he would allow him to put on his wobbly hat over his head when he appears for the examination. And thus he requested Mr. Jackson, because he was very much sure that somewhere in that strict disciplinary behavior, there's somewhere, in the corner of his heart, there exists compassion in his heart. उसके दिल में काइंडनेस है, दया है, और इसलिए वो उसको इजाज़त दे देंगे. बिकॉज ही हैड रेड हिम वेरी कीनली. ईवांस ने उसे बहुत अच्छी तरह से पढ़ लिया है. वो जानता है कि जब मैं उसको इस तरह से इमोशनली कुछ कहूँगा, और वो उसे एग्री कर लेंगे, एंड ही वुड अलाउ हिम. ओके, जस्ट दिस वंस then Shirley Temple. If there was one thing that Jackson generally loathed about Evans, it was his long, wavy hair. So he called him as Shirley Temples, because he had long hair, and Jackson always hated. Loathed means he hated the lengthy hair. And he said, please, this wavy hair of yours, I want them to be shortened and get shaved immediately. So at 8:45 the same morning, that same day, same morning, exactly at 8:45 in the morning, see, as we began with the explanation in the beginning, in the starting of the chapter, the governor as well as secretary of the examination have, discussed about the invigilator, and they have decided to appoint an invigilator from St. Mary's Manse, a church, a parson they wish to appoint. So now from here, we are going to talk about, the parson who is going to arrive to invigilate the prisoner who is, desirous of appearing for the O-level German examination. So exactly the same day at 8:45 in the morning, the Reverend Stuart McClary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street. Where he lived, children? Where did this invigilator parson lived? In the Broad Street, So, and as he stepped out from his, apartment, or from his street where he resided, as he came out briskly means quickly, towards Carfax, the weatherman reported. weatherman कौन होते हैं? जो हमारे मौसम की जानकारी हमें देते हैं. वेदरमैन ने रिपोर्ट किया कि आज का तापमान जो है, टेम्परेचर्स जो हैं, वो बिलो द नॉर्मल फॉर अर्ली जून है. तो इस जून मंथ में ये जो होना चाहिए टेम्परेचर, उससे बहुत लो जा रहा है, बिलो है. एंड अ लॉन्ग ब्लैक ओवरकोट ही वॉज पुटिंग ऑन. एंड हाउ वॉज दैट पर्सन ड्रेस्ड? He was, wearing long coat, long over black coat he was wearing. You need to underline these lines. And a shallow crowned clerical hat. He was also having a clerical shaped hat over his head, And that hat of his provided protection from the steady drizzle. क्योंकि जब वो बाहर निकला था तो हल्की बूंदाबांदी हो रही थी. And that hat, it supported him, He was putting on his goggles, but somewhere he was able to find that the droplets of the rain or the drizzle, they were, falling over his goggles that he was putting on. But somehow that hat of his had protected him. Clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle which had set in half an hour earlier. And just before he left his street, Broad Street, before stepping, half an hour before, it started drizzling there, and thus he says, when he stepped out of his house with a raincoat, he was putting on the coat, a long coat, and he was putting on a clerical hat over his head, and which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. He was wearing spectacles, and the drizzle, when the droplets were, falling, they were all falling on his glasses, on his specs. Okay. It's his right hand. In his right hand he was carrying a small brown suitcase. Children, there's always a question from here in the board examination. What did his suitcase, brown suitcase, contain? Okay. See, in his right hand he was carrying a small brown suitcase. What all articles were there lying in the suitcase? They were, and all these contained the articles he needed them for the morning duties. Morning duties means where he was going. He was going to conduct an examination at HM prison for the prisoner, who was desirous of preparing for the O-level examination, and he has been, appointed on duty by the governor as well as the secretary of the examination, who had assigned him this duty to invigilate the prisoner while he appears for his O-level examination. I hope you understood, children. So what did he do? So he had all the required articles for the form that he was supposed to fill before appearing for the examination for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper was there. It was in an envelope. A yellow invigilation form was there. Then a special authentication card, and then there was an ID also from the examination board to show while he would enter the prison. So his identification card was there. A paper knife was there. A Bible was there because he was a priest. So he had a Bible, and after the examination he was to speak to the women's guild. Women's guild is nothing but औरतों की श्रेणी से वो बात करने वाले थे. वो on the importance of women he was about to speak to the group of women there. And that afternoon, क्योंकि after the examination he was about to go and preach the women's guild there. So thus he carried his Bible along with him in the briefcase. Okay, so now there can be a one-line question. Why did the person carry a Bible in his briefcase? So you need to answer, because after he having a check as an invigilator on the examinee who was about to prepare for the examination, later he was supposed to speak to the women's guild. Okay, that's what that afternoon. So he was carrying on the book of Ruth, a Bible he was carrying, and along with this he had a current copy of the church time also. And another important document that he was having in the briefcase was the timing, the church timings. Okay, so the 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. Children, the examination was about to begin at 9:15 a.m. in the morning. Okay, now Evans was lathering his face vigorously. Evans क्या कर रहे थे? अब उसको उन्होंने स्ट्रिक्टली बोला था ना, किसने, सीनियर ऑफिसर ने, कि जल्दी से अपनी शेप बना लो, तो झाग फैला रहे थे वो अपने ब्रश के साथ. लेदरिंग इज नथिंग बट हियर ही वाज रेटिंग इतनी तेज़ी से उसको हिला रहे थे ब्रश को कि उसको झाग बना रहे थे अपने उस दो बाल, उनको अपने दाढ़ी के बाल जो शेप कर रहे थे. ही वॉज जस्ट ट्राइंग टू rate that vigorously means fast, in a haste manner. When Stephens brought in 2 small square tables, जब वो दाढ़ी बना रहे थे उसी टाइम क्या हुआ, when he was making his shave, at the same time Stephens, the junior recruited officer, he appeared with 2 small tables with desks and set them opposite each other. उन्होंने उन दोनों, अब वो क्या कर रहा था, वो अरेंजमेंट कर रहा था, क्योंकि मैक्लेरी इन्विजिलेटर आने वाले थे, तो वो ही वॉज अरेंजिंग द सीट फॉर द इन्विजिलेटर एज वेल एज फॉर द एग्जामिनी हु वाज अबाउट टू अपेयर फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन. सो उन्होंने 2 बेंचेस लगाए, एक एग्जामिनी के लिए और दूसरा टीचर के लिए जो इन्विजिलेट करने आ रहे थे, जो प्रीस्ट ऑफ सेंट मेरीज मैग चर्च के थे वो. सो व्हाट हैपेंड, एंड ही सेट देम ऑपोजिट ईच अदर, आमने सामने उसको रख दिया. इन द नैरो स्पेस बिटवीन द बंक मीन्स उसके बेड के बीच में जो थोड़ी सी जगह थी, क्योंकि बंक बहुत छोटी सी थी. ही वॉज uh, you know, he was known as Ivan's the Break. So special precautions were being taken that he should not make any attempt of escaping from the prison. So the benches were laid in between, just near, in between there was little space near the bed, near his bed. So they have arranged the two benches there, and on the other a distempered stone wall, and on the other side, one side there was his bed, the other side we were able to see the distempered stone wall. Distempered means, थोड़ी सी टूटी हुई जो, that wall which needs repair. Next, Evans brought in two hard chairs. Then he was with two chairs. पहले उसने bench tables लगाए, फिर उसके बाद वो दो chairs लेकर आए. वो chairs कैसी थी? Slightly less battered. वो कम खराब कुर्सियाँ थी. मतलब the chairs that were placed for the invigilator as well as for the examinee who was about to appear for the examination, उनके लिए ये कुर्सियाँ लगाई गई थी. लेकिन वो जो चेयर्स थी वो कम ख़राब थी. दे वो लेस used, battered, of which he placed in front of the table which stood near the cell door. उन्होंने उस cell door के पास उस चेयर्स को एक तो उनके लिए लगा दिया और दूसरा उन्होंने एग्जामिनी के लिए लगा दिया. Jackson put in a brief final appearance, and after placing the chair as well as the tables, Jackson was, having a final look at the arrangements Stephens had made. And before leaving his cell, he looked at Evans and he, once again warned him, behave yourself, lad. So what did he warn him? Okay, see that you do not misbehave in presence of the invigilator who is just about to arrive. Evans looked at him and he nodded his head without giving any response. He said, okay. And then he said, and these. And then suddenly Jackson had seen few things lying down there and said, Jackson pointed to the pins up. उसने कहा ये जो pins लगी हुई हैं ये भी हटा दो. Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take them down anywhere. तो Evans उसकी तरफ देखा, किसकी तरफ? जैक्सन की तरफ देखा और कहने लगा, डोंट वरी, मैं इन्हें लेकर नीचे जाने वाला था. आई वॉज गोइंग टू टेक देम अवे. ये सारे पिन्स हैं, मैं यहाँ से ले जाने वाला था. मुझे पता था कि मिनिस्टर आने वाला है यहाँ पर. सो चिल्ड्रन, यहाँ से this point is very important here. This context you have to remember. How did Evans come to know that somebody was going to arrive to invigilate him? From here, this statement proves that that Evans was very much sure or familiar to the idea that somebody, a new person, is going to come to invigilate him today at so and so time. So what did he say? Understand this. I was going to take them down anywhere. Then he said, a minister, isn't it? मैं जानता हूँ यहाँ कोई minister आने वाला है. And now, listening to this, that a minister is arriving, the officer became alert. He said, hey chap, the chap coming to sit in, फिर वो कहता है, Evans कहता है, I know, मैं जानता हूँ यहाँ आकर बैठेगा जब मैं एग्ज़ाम दूंगा. That minister is going to come here. They call it as minister. वहाँ पर priests को कहते थे as ministers. Okay. He said that this is a discussion going on between Jackson and Evans regarding the invigilator who is just going to arrive into the prison. Then he said, okay, he's going to be the one who's going to check me up in the cell while I'm appearing for the examination. Listening to this, the officer was like, he was surprised. He said, how did you know? तुम कैसे जानते हो कि कोई आने वाला है? Jackson ने पूछा, well, I'd had to sign some forms. फिर उसने कहा, मैं ये भी जानता हूँ कि मुझे कुछ फॉर्म्स भरने होंगे, साइन करने होंगे. फिर कहता है, didn't I? क्यों? तुम क्या कहते हो? मुझे साइन वगैरह करना होगा ना? So he again appeared innocent by throwing a tag here to the officer. And I couldn't help, he's saying, I could not help. Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek, and while he was shaving, he was having a discussion with the officer, and धीरे से वो अपना रेजर को नीचे ला रहा था as he was cleaning his beard at that particular moment, and left neat swath in the white leather. Understand this context here. Left neat swath means जब वो रेजर को नीचे ला रहा था, पहले पूरी फोम थी लगी हुई, झाग था. जब वो रेजर को नीचे ला रहे थे तो वहाँ पर एक एक पाथ बन रहा था जहाँ जहाँ रेजर घूमती. बॉयज स्पेशली जब आप रेजर नीचे लेकर आते तो वहाँ एक रास्ता सा बन जाता है, isn't it? There is a way formed. So white leather swath, वहाँ पर उस लेदर के बीच में, उस फोम के बीच में से, झाग में से क्या हो रहा था, वहाँ पर एक रास्ता सा बन रहा था as he was pulling his razor down while he was making his shave. Then he said, "Can I ask something, Mr. Jackson?" Evans कहने लगे कि Jackson, can I question you something? Why did they have to bug me in the cell? Then he says, "Listen, Mr. Jackson, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. I'm not able to understand why the prison officers have to spy me so keenly. Why are these officers behind me? Why they are, 24 hours, putting an eye on me?" He nodded his head clearly, vaguely, to a point above the door. Then, he looked at the certain point at the door. दरवाजे की तरफ उसने देखा, ऊपर की तरफ. Not a very neat job, conceded Jackson. Jackson ने भी कहा, हाँ, मुझे भी लग रहा है इतना ज़्यादा भी तुम पर परछाई की तरह पीछा नहीं करना चाहिए. They are not. They don't honestly think I'm going to try to. फिर कहता है वो ऐसा नहीं करते, लेकिन वो सच्चाई तो ये है कि ऐसा वो करना भी नहीं चाहते तेरे साथ, बट दे आर टेकिंग नो चांसेस. लेकिन फिर भी, because you have already broken the prison thrice and you have escaped, so they don't want to take any chance regarding you, especially Evans. Nobody in his senses would take any chance with you. So उन्होंने कहा, Evans, तुम्हारे मामले में कोई भी ऐसा कोई मौका चूकना नहीं चाहता, कि क्योंकि वो तुम पर भरोसा नहीं करते हैं, तो none of us want to take a chance with you. Who's going to listen in? Who's going to listen in? I will tell you who's going to listen in. तो इवांस पूछता है, अब हम जब किसी तरह की बात या डिस्कशन करेंगे तो हमारी बातों को कौन सुनेगा? तो जैक्सन कहता है, listen to me. There is definitely someone who's going to be very vigilant, who's going to listen to each and every conversation of yours, lad. लड़के याद रखना, तुम्हारी हर एक कॉन्वर्जेशन पर कीन आइज रखी जाएंगी. तो उसने पूछा, कौन रखेगा, कौन सुनेगा? उसने कहा, इट्स द गवर्नर हिमसेल्फ. तो हु इज़ गोइंग टू लिसन? द गवर्नर इज़ गोइंग टू बी इन डायरेक्ट कॉन्टैक्ट विद योर सेल. ही डजंट ट्रस्ट यू अ ब्लडी इंच. तो ऑफिसर ने कहा, गवर्नर को तुम पर थोड़ा सा भी, चुटकी भर भी विश्वास और भरोसा नहीं है, और उसके साथ साथ मुझे भी नहीं है. नॉट डू आई. Then he said, I'll be watching you like a hawk. मैं तुम्हें हॉक की तरह हमेशा तुम्हारे सर के ऊपर खड़ा रहूँगा और तुम पर वॉच रखूँगा. Evans, so keep your nose clean. इसलिए आप अपने दिमाग को थोड़ा बिल्कुल अच्छी तरह से साफ कर लो. He walked towards the door. Evans ने सर हिलाया, nodded. He had already thought of that, and number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk. तो उसने सोच रखा था कि क्या होने वाला है, क्या होगा आगे. और इवांस ने वहाँ अपने बेड के ऊपर ऑलरेडी 2 हैंकचीफ्स रखे हुए थे. क्या रखे हुए थे बच्चे? कीप इट इन माइंड, अंडरलाइन. 2 हैंकचीफ्स. कीप एवरी पॉइंट, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एवरी कॉन्टेक्स्ट. He had already, after this discussion, he had a look. He was ready with 2 handkerchiefs on his bed, on the bunk. A neatly folded square of all white linen. And किसके बने हुए थे? White linen कपड़े के वो hankies बने हुए थे. And those 2 handkerchiefs were lying on his bed, Just one more thing, Einstein. फिर जैक्सन पीछे मुड़े एक बार. फिर उसको वो प्यार से इस तरह से बुलाते थे क्योंकि नए आविष्कार करता रहता था, भागने के, तोड़ने के, तो दैट्स व्हाट दे आर नेम्ड इन एज एंस्टाइन. ओके, या व्हाट्स इट, इवांस ने कहा, क्या कहते हो? गुड लक ओल्ड सन, उसने उसे कहा गुड लक. In the little lodge just inside the prison's main gate. And now, children, from here we are going to learn about, you know, the arrival of the prison, arrival of the, you know, invigilator in the prison. Sorry. In the little lodge just inside the prison's main gates, Reverend S. McClary signed his name. So he had already entered his name. You know, when you enter the prison, you have to, you know, entry book, but you have to sign who you are, from where you have come. See, all the necessary details you have to fill in, you know. So he had already done that. Name neatly in the visitor's book he had written. So McClary had arrived, you know, at the entrance of the prison, and thence walked side by side with the silent prison officer. And he was being escorted by a prison officer across the yard. D wing के पास पहुंच चुके थे, and इन्विजिलेटर के साथ साथ ऑफिसर चला रहा था. एंड जैसे वो डी विंग के पास पहुंचते हैं, immediately he was, you know, greeted by senior officer Mr. Jackson. तो आप समझ गए होंगे कौन उन्हें एस्कॉर्ट करने गए थे. द जूनियर रिक्रूटेड ऑफिसर, जिसका नाम था स्टीफनसन. ओके, एंड जैक्सन उन्हें कहाँ मिले हैं? जैक्सन उन्हें डी विंग, जो रिक्रिएशनल विंग था उनका, जहाँ पर प्रिजनर्स को थोड़ा आज़ाद छोड़ दिया जाता है कुछ समय के लिए, 1-2 घंटे के लिए, ताकि दे कैन वॉच टेलीविजन और दे कैन speak and discuss among themselves, all the prisoners. That D wing is known as the creation wing. So the wing's heavy outer door, and you know, हर wing के पास channel gates होते हैं, you know, and that too iron bars से बने होते हैं, बहुत भारी लोहे की, you know, सलाखों के साथ बने होते हैं. And heavy, you know, outer door was unlocked and locked behind them. So जैसे वो अंदर आए, उसके पहले उसे अनलॉक किया, उठाया, उसको अंदर लिया इन्विजिलेटर को, एंड वापस अगेन इट was locked behind them. The heavy inner door the same. Again as they entered in, D wing के बाहर अंदर जब आए, तो वहाँ अंदर जाने के बाद एक और ऐसा ही चैनल डोर था जिसको उन्होंने अनलॉक किया पहले, फिर अंदर आए, फिर उसको once again that was locked behind them. Okay, and McClary was handed into Stephen's keeping. अंदर जाने के बाद what has happened? He was, you know, McClary, the priest or the minister, he was handed over to the junior officer Stephens, that now you are supposed to take care of Stephens and take care of McClary, the invigilator, and take him to the cell where he has to have a keen observation and invigilate the examiner. And then as he was holding him, he said, "Get the razor," murmured Jackson. Jackson ने फिर एक रिमाइंडर दिया. किसको दिया रिमाइंडर? स्टीफनसन को. क्या रिमाइंडर दिया? That do not forget to collect the razor from the examinee. So because he had just shaved, he said, "See, don't forget to collect the razor from him." Stephens nodded. Okay, he had given a response with a nod. Okay, fine, I'll be definitely doing that. Well, keep your eyes skinned. And he said, "See that you have your eyes on him." Okay, Stephens nodded again. So at every instruction that was being laid by the senior officer, he was immediately giving a response by nodding his head. His feet clanging up to the iron stairs. Then he had to climb the iron stairs to reach the cell of the prisoner. Followed his new guide, and उनके साथ साथ उनके invigilator जो McClary आए थे from which street? Broad Street से आए थे, and finally stood before a cell door, and they have reached that cell door where the prisoner was sitting inside, where Stephens opened the peephole. सबसे पहले, what is this peephole, children? आपने देखा होगा कि जितने भी आजकल नए कंस्ट्रक्शंस हो रहे हैं, डोर पर एक छोटा सा गोल सा मिरर लगा के एक छोटा सा पीप होल होता है, जिसके थ्रू जब आप अंदर देखते हैं तो आप कुछ देख नहीं पाते हैं, लेकिन अंदर वाले जो लोग होते हैं, दे कैन सी व्हाट इज़ गोइंग आउट अराउंड इनसाइड. सो इट इज़ ऑन यू कि आप किस तरह के पीप होल लगाते हैं अपने डोर पे. क्या आप जो नेचुरली जो घर में रहेंगे वो तो ऐसी चीज़ देखने के लिए कि बाहर कौन आया है, उस पीप होल में से वो देख लेते हैं. ओके, दे सी थ्रू दैट पीप होल what is going on out of the door. But in the prisons or in other departments, maybe they have those peepholes to observe from outside. So Stephenson ने immediately door के peephole में से झांक कर देखा. तो what he wanted to see what the prisoner was doing inside the cell. So definitely the prisoner cannot see anything through the peephole what is going outside, but the officers who have been appointed to have a keen observation on him, they can see what he was doing inside the cell. Okay, so thus, well, keep your eyes, he said, and then Stephens nodded again, his feet clanging before a cell door. Stephens opened the peephole and looked through. That's him, sir, and he showed it to the invigilator. Okay, this is the candidate who is going to appear for the examination. Evans facing the door. As he opened the door, Evans was straight away looking towards the door, sat quietly at the farther of the two tables, and काफ़ी दोनों tables से थोड़ा दूर बैठे हुए थे. Evans, his whole attention riveted to a textbook of elementary German grammar. And what was Stephens doing as what was Evans doing as the invigilator opened the door? See, he was looking at his elementary German grammar, O-level German grammar textbook on which he was. That shows that he was, laying complete attention on the book as he was about to appear for the examination. Stephens took the key from its ring. Immediately Stephens ने टीचर को एज वेल एज एग्जामिनी को अंदर रखा और फिर उसने ताला लगाया. एंड द सेल लॉक्ड, स्प्रैंग बैक विद अ थर्ड नॉइज, मेटालिक ट्वैंग आवाज़ आई और उसे उन्होंने बंद कर दिया. सो चिल्ड्रन, नाउ McClary, the invigilator, is inside the cell of the prisoner, okay, where he has been imprisoned, and the further instruction what the invigilator is going to give to the examinee, we are going to discuss in our next part of our explanation. Meanwhile, I hope you all have understood the first part of this chapter, and you have seen how the governor had given a call to the secretary of examination, and he wanted a permission from him as one of his prisoners was willing to appear for the O-level examination and upgrade his qualification. And thus, with certain inquiries, the secretary had given the permission, had given his consent of allowing the prisoner to appear for the examination, but with strict vigilance and precautions before they could conduct the examination. And accordingly, certain instructions were given, and the governor had assured the examination secretary that he would be following strict vigilance while arranging for conducting the examination for the prisoners. And further on, we have even seen that the governor had appointed, two officers, Mr. Jackson, the senior officer, who was a very strict disciplinarian, and the other officer who was newly appointed, recruited in the, prison. He was little burly, he was little fat guy, and he was not very strict but very polite guy. But Jackson, he was a strict officer, and Jackson and Evans, they had been enemies since years. So the discussions, whenever they had any casual discussions between them, they appeared always like they were the enemies that spoke to each other. So this is how then Jackson comes and warns Stephenson. We have seen that when he wanted him to clean himself, and he wanted him to remove his bobbly hat, but Evans, put forth his views or his suggestion that that particular hat is very lucky to him as he's going to appear for the examination, so he would love to retain that hat over his head rather than taking off that hat. And somehow Evans knew that some in the core of the officer's heart there exists a compassionate corner, and he knew that he would definitely agree to his request. So thus realizing this, he requests him that he should allow him to you know put on his hat while appearing for his examination. So in this way, there are various types of instances in the first part of the chapter that we have read, and I want you all that that question from that part of the chapter. I told you what did the suitcase that the minister or the invigilator carrying in his hand contained, that from which street he had arrived, from the Broad Street, and how was that weather that day. You have to mention all these things, and what did the weatherman report. Okay, so children, with this I would end the first